This chess video, we are going to look for some amazing chess games played by the magician Mikhail. In this video, we will cover top best games played by Mikhail. Okay, let's look for the first game where Mikhail is playing as black and white as Bukhuti Kurtentais. Now, Bukhuti plays d4 beginning with the queen pawn opening where Mikhail have a best plan knight to f6. Now comes c4, beginning with the queen's gambit, where guess what? Mikhail begins c5, beginning with Benani defense, where of course white cannot capture this pawn since white have a center pawn, so white can try to push this pawn forward, and white was the player who does that. d5. Now Mikhail plays e6, where he wants to trail up the pawns, but what white plays knight to c3. Now in this position, Mikhail captures the pawn, white captures the pawn back, and then d6. Well, you all may be surprised with the move d6 since this bishop cannot come over here, but all these are Mikhail planning. And Mikhail thinks that both the bishops are developed since this bishop can come to e7 and can castle. So Mikhail is comfortable with this position. He can take this bishop out and then he can develop the knight, which is a amazing point. And Mikhail is completely comfortable with this position. Well, white plays knight to f3. Now comes g6, where Mikhail wants to develop the bishop to g7 and castle along the king side. In this position, e4, gaining the central control, then comes bishop to g7 as we all discussed. Now, white plays bishop to e2, making some space for the king to castle. Well, in this position, black also castles and then white castle. Now comes rook to e8 and then knight to d2. Well, first of all, we could understand that this rook was attacking the pawn and also the knight was attacking it. So, white added a defender by playing knight to d2 like this. Also, white developed this bishop having an open diagonal, which is a magic point. Anyways, in this position, Mikhail plays knight to a6. Well, the main importance of playing knight to a6 is that Mikhail wants this knight to c7, and then after knight to c7 he will push b5, which may create a pawn storm towards the queen side. Anyways, in this position, here white plays rook to e1. Well, in this position, we begin with knight to c7. Mikhail plays knight to c7, and the planning is same. He wants to push the b5 pawn. So white plays a4, preventing the b5 pawn. But once again, Mikhail is comfortable with this, and instead, Mikhail plays b6, where he can develop this bishop easily. Anyways, the importance of playing b6 was not to develop the bishop, but for Mikhail he played b6 so that he can play a6 and then he can try b5. Well, now you will be wondering that why black doesn't play a6, then he could have tried something like b5. Well, so the main reply comes a5, where if you will try to push this, so white can capture it with a move called en passant, and Mikhail will become incomfortable with this position. So Mikhail after having a lot of plannings, he plays e6, where he wants to push a6 and then b5. His plannings are simple, and whatever he is trying to attack towards the enemy pieces. Anyways, queen to c2, developing the queen. Now comes knight to g4. Well, knight to g4. First of all, we must understand that this bishop is completely developed, having a long sharp diagonal attacking the knight. Also, now if white plays something like threatening this, then black can develop this bishop. Anyways, in this position, Mikhail's planning are simple. He wants to bring his queen to h4 and threaten the checkmate. But in this position, what white does is white realizes that this knight is something like dangerous since Mikhail can try sacrificing the knight as well. Anyways, what white realized was that black will bring the queen over here and will give it a checkmate. So what white does is white plays x3, attacking the knight, means forcing the knight back. But yes, remember black is Mikhail Tal. And remember the thought. Why do you all call Mikhail Tal as a magician? Because he sacrifices the pieces. Where he sacrificed the knight to f2. Well, of course, this is a very shocking move for you, since if black will capture the knight and white was the one who captured the knight. So black's knight was captured and then Mikhail Tal plays queen to h4 giving a check. Now comes king to f1 which is a forced move. Okay, in this position you might be wondering that why white doesn't place g3 since this was a completely attacking the queen and blocking the way, right? But in this position, get what? In this position we will play bishop to d4 giving a check where if king goes back, then once again we can capture it, giving a checkmate. So Mikhail Tal planning are completely simple. And in this position, let us say white plays king to g2, then we can capture it back. Where you can understand that white's king position will become completely vulnerable. Anyways, well, Mikhail Tal's planning are completely awesome. And in this position, we all understand, we all even realize that Mikhail Tal is such an amazing player. Well, in this position, we go back. Now, we all understand that playing g3 was not a better move by white, and white was quite smart to realize that g3 was not an amazing move. So, king goes to f1. And now, Mikhail Tal have a lot of planning also. In this position, Mikhail Tal plays bishop to d4, centralizing the bishop and having a checkmate in just one move. Well, this checkmate can be prevented by only single move and that is playing knight to d1. Because this was the only way where white can protect the game. Well, in this position, now you can understand that all these pieces are over here where Mikhail Tal is not allowing his opponent's pieces to work. And you can understand that this queen and the rook, both these pieces are completely useless. They both do not play a major role in this game. Where in this position, queen takes on x3. Mikhail Tal sacrifices the queen even. Well, you might be shocked because if white captures it, then bishop can capture it, giving a checkmate. Once again, this was a awesome move by Mikhail Tal. And if you also like this move, then please like this video. Well, going back in this position, the main reply by white comes bishop to f3. Okay, now white plays bishop to x3. Well, let us say that Mikhail Tal thinks that queen sacrifice will not be obvious, and if Mikhail Tal tries any move like playing x6, so in the next move white can capture the queen, and remember that will be a free queen since there will be no checkmate. But yes, Mikhail Tal is enough smart to realize that. So, of course, Mikhail Tal plays queen to x2. Well, playing queen to x2. Now, the main plan is Mikhail Tal can even take the queen to g1, giving a checkmate. And that will be something amazing move played by Mikhail Tal. Anyways, in this position, Mikhail Tal plays queen to x2 where the reply comes knight to e3. Okay, knight to e3. Actually, in this position, we can see that there was a checkmate in one move. So, in order to prevent this, so white plays knight to e3, blocking the way of bishop. Well, in this position, this bishop is very important for Mikhail Tal. So, Mikhail Tal is never going to trade off her bishop for a knight. Well, here comes bishop 2. In this position, Mikhail Tal plays f5. Okay, so Mikhail Tal plays f5 for if white captures this, then what black can do is black can capture this having a maturity and threaten to checkmate in the next move. Well, going back once again, white is also smart, so white is not going to capture this pawn. So comes knight d to c4, where he is adding a defender to the knight, and there is another defender as well. That's the bishop. So bishop is also developed, and the knight is also protecting it. Now this knight can capture this pawn as well, which may threaten the rook. So playing knight d to c4 was a good move by white. Well, in this position, what black does is black captures the center pawn where bishop captures back. Now comes bishop to a6. Here black plays bishop to a6. Now Mikhail Tal planning is that this he wants to pin this knight. And this knight is also pinned. Now why I call it the pin? Since if this knight moves anywhere, then there will be checkmate. Not a checkmate, but you can understand that this move will threaten the game. Anyways, going back, in this position, this knight cannot move because of the move by Mikhail Tal, and Mikhail Tal can have a lot of sacrifices. Well, in this position, bishop to f3. Now comes the move that is rook to e5. This knight can attack this rook, yes, but sorry, this is a pin. This knight cannot move. So this is an amazing move by black. Now he plays rook to e5. Once again, you can understand that he wants to develop the rook to e8, doubling the rooks, which will be an amazing attack towards the enemy knight. Now comes rook to a3. He is adding the defender. Now comes rook a to e8. We all discussed about this. He wants to attack the knight. Bishop to d2, developing the bishop. Well, in this position, guess what? What black can do in this position? Well, Mikhail Tal is tired of making moves and so he plays knight takes on d5, giving a knight for a pawn, means a knight sacrifice, where bishop captures it and this is a check, so black captures back, and once again if this can capture it, then queen to g1 will be a checkmate. So white doesn't capture this rook. And once again, here comes king to e2. Now he played king to e2 so that he can get rid of this checkmate. Now after king to e2, what Mikhail Tal does, Mikhail Tal takes the knight with the bishop, where rook captures the bishop back, and then comes bishop to c4, giving a check, where the bishop captures the knight, and this is a free knight since if queen captures it, then queen takes on g2 pawn, giving a check, and king have only one way to d1, and then comes the checkmate. Well, going back, White realizes that taking out the bishop will not be a nice move. So instead, in this position, White doesn't capture the bishop and instead White plays king to d1 so that he can capture this bishop. But yes, Mikhail Tal first of all traced the rook, and after the trade, then comes queen to g1, giving a check. Where rook goes back, now comes queen to f2. Well, all the pieces are attacking towards the enemy king, and this bishop can jump to b3, where if queen will capture it, then there will be the checkmate in next move. Well, this game was played by Mikhail Tal, and that was completely awesome since he sacrificed a lot of pieces. So this was the end of the video, and if you have any doubts relating this video, you may ask in the comment section. Thanks for watching.